God, I'm becoming such a cheapskate. Countless games down, and only now am I choosing to commit to my financial future. Real strange that. No time like the present, I guess. Time to eliminate every single high-value game from my collection. But where to start?
That should do it. You ever notice that the Nintendo Switch doesn't have a single Nintendo Selects on it?
Oh my god, it really doesn't. Mine's just got fleas.
Nintendo Selects were a collection of titles Nintendo deemed high quality enough and not selling enough to warrant a permanent price cut. The branding began in 2011 with the Wii, and to be honest with you, using the words Wii and 2011 in the same sentence tells you everything you need to know about Nintendo's motivations.
This didn't truly begin on Wii. The horrible, horrible tradition of cutting a game's price for the consumer actually began in 1996.
A select few SNES games were re-released under the Player's Choice banner in May 1996, sporting this fancy and somewhat ugly ribbon and a new low price. I mean, we can all agree this is a natural part of any product's life, right? The game comes out, it's full price, eventually it will dip a few sales, and as time marches on, it will finally slip into that sweet, sweet coma of a $20 price tag.
Well, if anyone needs me, you'll know where I'll be.
The games added to the collection were no mugs either. It wasn't even unexpected that big-name Nintendo published games would hit the label. It was guaranteed. Super Mario All-Stars, F-Zero, Tetris 2, A Link to the Past, all of these stellar titles are Player's Choice games. But like I just said, it's the life cycle of any product. Nintendo initially made Player's Choice exclusive for games that had sold over 1 million units. And in the heyday of the 90s, where arcade machines cost a nickel and people did crack, 1 million units was usually a clear sign it was time to put the game down.
Oh, believe me, way ahead of you. As time went on, more and more games were added to the Player's Choice collection, both Nintendo published and third party. If this is the part where you think I'm going to list them all, please get a hold of yourself, we're moving on.
The Player's Choice line spread to the Game Boy, the GBA, GameCube, and the only notable event in that entire time frame is the reduced price that was slightly more expensive in the N64 era. Something to do with how expensive cartridges were back in those days? I don't know, Nintendo were off their rocker from 1996 onwards.
Whoa, 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 hold your f***ing horses! Isn't 1996 the same year that SNES Player's Choice games came out?
Funny how things work out, isn't it? Minor footnote I forgot to mention in that life cycle of a game thingy-mabob I was talking about earlier. Let me just find it right here, and the next console has to come out first. Do you seriously think any Nintendo nerd from the 90s cared about the SNES by the time the N64 dropped? Bad question, don't answer that. I mean, yeah, of course some did, but don't kid yourself. That release timing was tactical, just like the rebrand of Player's Choice into Nintendo Selects in May 2011.
You noticed it, right? The transition in conversation? You noticed it, right? Please, that's all I got. Nintendo Selects first released on May 15th, 2011. The maiden voyage consisting of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, Animal Crossing City Folk, Mario Super Sluggers, and Wii Sports. So a game we used to get for free now costs $20. What a steal.
It worked exactly how Player's Choice did. Please understand that. There's only so many times I can explain how a discount line works before I go mad. Of course, the most notable change is the box art design. Player's Choice has seen a lot of changes over the years, but Nintendo Selects has always been this burgundy and gold frame around a shrunk down version of the box art. With a Nintendo Selects ribbon coming down over the Wii template, it's design nice, but I think it's objectively bad. Shrinking down the box art is always a red flag in my mind, and that ribbon covering the top left corner, I shudder to think of what's under there.
Oh my f***, that is Miyamoto's penis.
But on the plus side, at least the spine is unaffected. Except when it isn't.
Yeah, most things either are or aren't something. This isn't Schrodinger's Nintendo Selects.
Some releases have this gold badge on the bottom of the spine to ensure everyone in the neighbourhood is aware you bought a Nintendo Selects re-release. Of course, you have to inform them first when you move in, but beside the point. I've seen some Wii games have it, for some reason mine doesn't, but my copy of Mario & Luigi Dream Team for the 3DS has it, so minus 3 points for lack of consistency.
Do better please, Nintendo. Like with your release dates for reprints, considering this one came out less than a month before the Switch launched. Just think about that for a minute. Yeah, it's obvious what the strategy is now. Reprint games for older systems are likely to see many more full price sales, slash the price to compete with the second-hand market, and milk more sales out of the game that way. I'm using phrases like milk and do better and video games to make this seem like more of a deeper issue than it actually is, but it really isn't. The big N will likely see more profits for their older games, and we, the consumer, get cheaper games. So really, everyone's winning. Or they were winning.
Where did it go? You're telling me the Nintendo Selects line just happens to stop like that? No! He orchestrated it! We're 6 years and a smidge into the life cycle of the Nintendo Switch. It's becoming increasingly more clear that the hardware is struggling and the successor is about 2 light centimeters away. And the last year I can remember is Nintendo shaving like $20 off Breath of the Wild.
I mean, it's a 6-year-old Wii U game, for crying out loud. You may as well charge me more at this point.
Not to mention sales have become a meme. I think it's ever so slightly exaggerated just how little Nintendo put their first party offerings on sale, but only slightly somehow. Like, you're seeing numerous people flip their shit whenever Nintendo puts something on sale. FIFA 23 Legacy Edition for half price.
Riots in the streets!
I don't even think they put them on sale. This is such a bad reputation to have. It's natural that the longer something stays out on the shelf, the lower its value gets. Glass of milk on my desk for 5 minutes, could probably flip that for a cold $5.
Glass of milk out on my desk for 5 years? That room is being fumigated!
By not introducing permanent price cuts, Nintendo is actively facilitating the idea that they're a greedy company, which may honestly be true at this point. I mean, it's not like every company is a pure soul that couldn't do anything wrong. Have you met every company? They're all pretty fucking evil. But by not creating a discounts line just as they've done in the past, it shows a definite change in their strategy. To be fair, maybe it's just because the games are still selling. Nintendo Selects were introduced to the Wii U on March 11th, 2016. You can't tell me they weren't itching to put those titles on sale.
This is actually really good justification. I don't want to justify this business decision. It's bad on the consumer, that's undoubtable, but it makes sense. Of course companies don't care about us. The whole point of a sale is to take a loss on profit per item, but gain that money back based on the amount of people buying said item. That's business 101. So if Nintendo can still sell enough copies of Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey at full price, why wouldn't they?
But it just sucks, because of Nintendo's other reputation of not giving a flying f*** about their retro titles, it raises the question of, will these titles be playable on their next system that, again, is about 2 light centimeters away?
I think that's moving into statement territory.
What I'm trying to say with that is it worth buying a Switch game for a full $60, or hell, $70 in some cases, if there's a chance Nintendo doesn't even support it on their next system? And the answer to that would be no. Wait to see if they introduce a Nintendo Select scheme in a year or so.
Which, thinking about it, they could still do it? There's time to fix that mistake. Maybe when the Switch successor drops, we'll get a Switch Selects line full of new games on sale. Looking at the previous iterations of Player's Choice and Nintendo Selects, this taught me that there's still enough time for Nintendo to put their Switch games on sale. Hell, look at the Wii! The last Nintendo Selects release for the Wii came out on March 11th, 2016. Get that, the same March 11th, 2016 that saw the first Wii U Nintendo Selects. We could potentially see Switch Selects games for years to come. There's still time! But wait. If they could still pull a rabbit out of the hat and release Nintendo Selects games for the Nintendo Switch, then what was the point of all of this?